Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Coming to you live from the library. And I am excited because I get to tell you about the MASL Readers Award Bookmark Contest. Now, this is a statewide contest that is run by librarians all across the state of Missouri. And I know you guys were fabulous at our bookmark contest we had recently. But this one is a little bit different because your bookmark has to be about one of the 12 nominees that are on next year's Mark Twain list. So if yours wins at the state level, then you would be out there for everybody in the entire state of Missouri would be able to see your bookmark and be able to print it, make a copy of themselves. So before we get started, I want to show you the form that you're going to use, and that is a plain blank marker. And then on the back, on the second page, you have to is what's going to be the back of the bookmark, and you have to have your name and your grade. And of course, our school is Saxon Middle School, and we are going to be using the Mark Twain Award because that's for grades fifth and sixth. Because even though there's other words, it has to be on your grade level in order to be eligible. Um, you will pick out one of these 12 books that I'm going to talk about. You will list the title of the book and the author of the book. Now, um, first off, I need to make sure that you have the name of the book at least on your bookmark. Okay. Now I am going to be showing you some book covers that I have, but feel free to, you know, be creative because that's what they're looking for. We really want original artwork and picture what you hear in your or see in your mind when you hear what I'm going to be talking about. Now, the first book I'm going to talk about is actually one that I am listening to right now, and that one is A Place to Hang the Moon. I was listening to this on the way to work this morning, and this one is about three orphans who are brothers and sister, and they were in the care of their grandmother and but grandmother has passed away. And the time that this takes place is during World War II, and the place is in Britain. Now, at this time during World War II, many people became fearful for their children, and so they started sending them away to places out in the country. Now, the dilemma that the kids has is because their parents had passed away when they were young, and their grandmother passed away, and now the grandmother didn't leave a will saying who was going to take care of them. And they are very well off. They have lots and lots of money. But so the person who's in charge of their estate tells them, you know, maybe we'll come up with a plan. We'll just send you away to one of the countrysides, and hopefully, maybe the family that takes you in, they might like you and might adopt you. But we don't want you to let people know that you have money because then you'll get the wrong kind of people. So they are sent away to find their fortune. And unfortunately, it's not the best situation. So what's going to happen to them? So that is A Place to Hang the Moon by Kate Olubis. Another one that I am also reading to right now, and I'm fixing to start. I've read halfway, and then I've got the audiobook. This is One Kid's Trash. Now, this book is about a boy, and he is a new kid at the school, and he is having a hard time because his mom and dad they've moved to this new town, and dad's decided all of a sudden to change his lifestyle, and he's going to be doing something else, and he starts a new job, and so that makes him go to the new school, and unfortunately, he's pretty short, and because he's short, sometimes he's not seen a lot of. He says a lot of girls like to make him like the pet. They want to pet his head and stuff, and other kids think he doesn't have the abilities. But he has a cousin there at the school, and his cousin sort of helps him become acclimated. His cousin is actually super popular and stuff. He's cool. But anyway, he finds out he has the ability to read trash. And he starts by reading some trash, and it helps him. He helps some other kids with their situations so that they can get on the sports team, or they can convince their older brother or sister to take them out for a ride. So that is one kid's trash. The next up is this is Nightingale. Now this one is about. I haven't read this one yet, so I sort of had to look at the back a little bit. This was about a 12-year-old girl, and she is trying to escape her life. And so she decides that if she gets some money, she might steal her way to a fortune. So she goes to the Royal Museum to steal something, but instead ends up getting this magical sword that only, it's sort of like King Arthur's sword, only lets the right person have access to it. And now that she discovers this sword has a mind of its own, and she has to become the next Nightingale. So she has to sworn to a fabled hero who must vanquish an ancient evil that is awakening after centuries of sleep. So this one sounds very interesting. But she finds that working alone has its problems, but so she's going to have to rely on her friends to help her out. All right, next up is Linked. And this one is by Gordon Corman. A lot of you have read his books. And this book here is about a boy who, again, is starting a new school, and he comes to the school one day and someone has painted a giant swastika, which is a Nazi symbol that has become a hate symbol today. And but because he was the first one to discover it, he is accused of doing it, even though he didn't do it. And a lot of people think it is targeting toward another new girl who's in school who is Jewish, and um, so they think because that's what the symbol is against, and so they come up with the idea of creating a chain to break a world record, showing 6 million chains linked together to show stand solidarity that they do not want to and condone this swastika that's being on there, that everybody is equal. All right, and next up is another fantasy adventure. This one is The Lion of Mars. Now, this one is about a boy and his family, and they know when they left Earth that they would never return again, and they are on Mars. And this Belle is just like any other kid. He loves cats, cake, and asking questions. There's just one thing: he lives on Mars, and Mars is very different. For one, all the food is made out of algae, so is the toilet paper. But then a virus breaks out and it affects all the adults. And so there are kids there. Now, on the planet, there are other countries who have also gone to the planet, and they have like little stations scattered across. But the kids have all been told, don't ever leave this station and try to go visit another station. And so they have to go to another place. So, Lion of Mars, science adventure. All right, decisions on my desk here. All right, next up is Once Upon a Camel. Okay, and this one is another fantasy story. This one we have an animal, and a peregrine comes up to us. The mountain is moving, the mountain is moving. And he looks out, and the camel recognizes what is happening because he remembers there is a storm coming because he has seen it before. And it looks like a mountain, but it's actually a cloud of dust. And so the peregrine has some baby birds in the tree, and he decides to save them, and he puts them on his head and carries them. And when he gets there, he's trying to keep these little babies entertained. So he starts talking about his life. And you find out he has a very interesting life. In fact, he even traveled to the United States and became one of the U.S. Army's camels in Texas. I didn't know that the Army had camels, so I learned something new about that. So you hear about his other tales as they are trapped in the cave and that's trying to survive the storm. Next up is Tangled Up in Luck, and this one is going to be a series, is what I've heard. And this one is, if you told, there's about two girls. They're Sloan and Amelia, and I have not read this one. I want to, but they are hiding from the evil mastermind in their town cemetery. They wouldn't have believed if you said that a person was intent on beating them to a cache of long lost jewels. These two girls, they don't really like each other at all and stuff, but they started having to work together when their class project leads them to a town mystery about these hidden jewels. And so there's somebody else, whether through serendipity, which means really, really good luck, or Zemblanity, which is really, really bad luck. Someone tricked their teacher into using the seventh grade class to investigate the mystery of their town's lost treasure. So it sounds like a very good read. All right, and the last book that I just got through reading, this is Pony. Now, this is Pony, but I'm also going to show you the back of this book because here is the boy. And this book is more about the boy than the pony, okay? But the boy is very interesting to start with because at one time or another he had been hit by lightning. And because he was hit by lightning, he has a scar in the shape of the tree that he was standing next to on his back, which is a photographic effect. And his dad is a photographer. And one night, and he and his dad live out in the country. And one night, this guy shows up with a bunch of other cowboys, and they're coming to take their dad and him away because they have heard that he is such a good printer that he can make those photographs, which is something new. And so his dad finally convinces him to leave his son there, that he'll go with them if they leave the son. And he finds out later that his dad has been drawn into a counterfeiting ring. The reason they stole him was because they wanted to make some fake money. So he goes off on a quest to find his dad. The pony shows back up. The pony he was supposed to have ridden it, and it's a pretty special pony, and it's about their adventures. And I love this one. This is by R.J. Palacio, who wrote Wonder, and it has nothing to do with Wonder, but I really love this one. This is Pony, so be sure to check it out. And it's one of those stories you keep thinking it's going to end here, and I was listening to audio, and it just kept going on and on, and you find out more and more details. All right. So the next ones I don't have in the library, so I have to show you my copies. And the first one is The Night Ride, okay? And just looking over my notes again, I think I haven't read this one. This one's a horse-centered fantasy. Again, two horses, but very different books here. And this one is about a girl. She loves this horse, and his name is Ricochet. And she wants to buy him, but she doesn't have much money and stuff. So she decides to start working in the royal stables where Ricochet is housed. And then she finds out about these illegal horse rides that horse races that are going on. And so there's some is she going to do it or is she not going to do it because it is illegal, and what would happen if she gets caught and stuff. And but she really wants this horse Ricochet, so it's about her and her getting to ride a horse and the adventures that she goes on. Next up, save that one. This one, 6 feet below zero. Okay, I have to read this one to you. This one sounds funny, and it's like, this is about some kids again, and they all of a sudden they are orphans. Rosie and Beck are orphans. That's the bad news. The good news is they live with wacky Great Grammy and not Grandma Grim Hesper, a cutthroat attorney. The worst news, in spite of her best efforts to keep them safe, Great Grammy is now dead. But if Great Grim Hesper finds out, the grandmother, she's going to claim guardianship, send them off to boarding school, and sell their family home. So Rosie and Baker decide to come up with a plan to try to escape this, and they decide to freeze Great Grammy in the basement instead and keep her demise. They don't tell anybody that she died, and hushed up while they try to come up with a plan to figure out how they're going to escape the grandmother that they'll now have, and where she wants to do with them. So this is 6 feet below zero. Sounds very interesting. Okay, next up is the hidden knife. Sorry, this is the hidden knife. And this book is about a heroine who wants to fulfill her destiny and she wants to become um, she's the middle daughter of a notorious ex-Raven Guard of Queen Evangeline, and the only one to ever leave her service. So she is advised by a shadowy group called the Elective, and the Queen wants new Raven recruits to attend the Hogwarts-like Cova School for the artfully inclined. So as she increases in combat and magic, Cat wants to shelter Vicky from Corvus and let her choose her own path. But something happens, and she forces her into maybe not attending the school after all. And so she has to make a rash decision that could alter the fate of the entire kingdom. So if you like a Harry Potter and Nevermore, Disney's franchise, you probably like The Hidden Knife. All right. And the last book I have on my table here today, and again, they were in no particular order. This is Worst Case Colin. Okay. Now, this one is about a boy. Also, his mother has died, and his dad um, is going through a hard time. And Colin starts writing down. He has a yellow notebook that he carries with him, and he writes down things that can help him cope with things. For example, he writes down like if there's going to be, if you ever got buried in an avalanche, and you want to find out because you might get tumbled around, pay attention to how the spit goes in your mouth, and then you go the opposite of your spits to get out. Or other little tidbit to help him do things. But he doesn't know what to do about his dad. And his dad is becoming more and more of a hoarder. And so his dad starts off just collecting small things, but eventually he just starts collecting trash and filling up the house. And so now Colin has a problem with having, clothes to wear or, um, food to eat and stuff. So he's going through a lot. And he doesn't know what to do, how he's going to tell people. So it's a really great story. So that is Worst Case Colin. So, all right. So those are the 12 nominees, and will probably put some more details on there. You do have to mention the title. You have to draw it. You may use whatever you would like to. I also have a electronic file, Canva file. If you are familiar, you can use that, but I prefer hand drawing. So, and it needs to be original artwork. So no copyrighted images. You can't add those things on there. You could like maybe recreate it, but do it in your own version and stuff of the works. That's always the best thing to do, because even these books, I have one cover, but um, several of them already have two completely different covers, so there's not really a win-win. So whatever you picture in your mind will be great. Now, just to review the rules real quickly. Sorry, it's taking a while. Uh, you have to have two things when you turn your bookmark in. I also need this form signed that gives me permission to give it to the MASL website. And first, it will be original work. It's going to be one of the Mark Twains. It has to be in your grade level. And it has to be on the right size. I got the right size for you. You can only work on one book. Okay? And students may enter one entry for one individual title only within the books that I showed you today, okay? And I will pick 3 bookmarks per book. So we could have, there are 12 books, so we could have up to 12 times 3 is 36. We could have 36 people in this statewide contest. Just depends on what we have sent to us. There is a rubric, and I will be using that rubric to judge whether or not it would be qualified at the state level. Um, so, anyway, that's about it. So hope you had those deadlines. And I did not put out that deadline, but I believe we put April the 21st deadline on there so we could give us time to go through these bookmarks, and because we have to have it turned in by May 1st, be uploaded to the website. Sometimes there's glitches, so we want to make sure it's in. If you have any questions about any of this, please feel free to check out See Me Again. I will post this video in Library Google Classroom so that you can watch it again to hear about the books. Because remember, what you hear, what you picture in your mind while I'm talking, that really is what we want to see on your bookmarks. And I know you guys are so creative, so I can't wait to see what you make. Bye bye. Have a great day.